If you've ever wondered, did no one ever bother to oppose the genocide that was happening during the Holocaust? You should know that a group of students at Cubberley High School actually did, and their history teacher ran an experiment to explain the behavior of the German people. Hi, welcome to our channel. We're going to stay a bit longer on the discussion about the events concerning the Nazi regime, so for this video, we'll be explaining all the details concerning the third wave experiment and how its memory lives through the different media materials today. At the end of this video, we can also ponder whether this was an experiment gone wrong. Before we begin, what are your guesses as to what the third wave experiment is all about? Tell us in the comments below. Let's familiarize ourselves with the individual responsible for conducting the third wave experiment. Ron Jones, an instructor at Cubberley High School in Palo Alto, taught contemporary world history to his students. During one of his lectures, he delved into the disturbing history of the Holocaust, which prompted his students to ask questions common among those encountering such atrocities for the first time. They questioned how the German populace could passively witness the unfolding genocide, and if anyone had opposed the atrocities. Jones struggled to articulate how the German people could have accepted the Nazi regime's actions. Known for his unconventional teaching techniques, Ron Jones had previously invited guest speakers with diverse perspectives, including a white supremacist and a communist, to address his classroom. So he had an idea and conceived an experiment, recreating the atmosphere of 1930s Germany by fostering a sense of entitlement among some students, while marginalizing others. This experiment aimed to provide his 10th grade, 15-year-old students with a first-hand experience of the allure and rise of the Nazis in pre-World War II Germany, serving as a social experiment in fascism. And so the movement known as the Third Wave began, and Jones conveyed to his students that its primary objective was the eradication of democracy. The concept of democracy, with its emphasis on individuality, was perceived as a limitation, and Jones underscored this key point in the movement's motto: strength through discipline, strength through community, strength through action, strength through pride. At the time, the experiment was not extensively documented. References to the experiment can only be found in the student newspaper of Cubberley High School, the Cubberley Catamount. It is briefly mentioned in 2 issues, while another issue contains a more comprehensive article about the experiment toward its end. Around 9 years later, Jones himself penned a detailed account of the experiment, which was followed by additional articles and interviews featuring Jones and the original students, shedding further light on the experiment. One of Jones's students enrolled in his contemporary world history homeroom class, Mark Hancock, at first viewed the history teacher's experiment as an enjoyable game facilitated by their school's most popular teacher. Mark remembers Jones presenting them with a proposition. If they actively engaged in the experiment, they would receive an A. If they simply followed along, they would receive a C. And if they attempted to initiate a revolution, they would be awarded an F, unless their revolution succeeded, in which case they would receive an A. With his mischievous nature as a 15-year-old, Mark aimed to be among those revolutionary students who achieved the highest grade. However, the experiment quickly surpassed the realm of academic achievement, and as it progressed, Mark found himself genuinely terrified. On the first day of the experiment, Jones entered the classroom and inscribed the phrase, "strength through discipline," on the chalkboard. He proceeded to deliver a lecture to the students, acclaiming the virtues of adhering to a structured routine. To allow the students to comprehend the power of discipline, Jones instructed the class to exercise and adopt a different seating position. He explained the significance of maintaining a correct posture while sitting, emphasizing how it facilitates necessary concentration and reinforces one's determination. This particular seating posture involved keeping the feet flat on the floor while placing the hands flat against the lower back, ensuring a straight alignment of the spine. Additionally, the students participated in noise drills, wherein talking was permitted solely to demonstrate its disruptive nature. Through a series of progressively challenging drill assignments, the class aimed to transition from standing positions outside the room to attentive sitting positions at their desks without producing any sound. During the final 25 minutes of the class, Jones introduced several new rules. Students were required to be seated in the attention position before the late bell rang, and they were expected to have pencils and paper for note-taking. When asking or answering questions, students had to stand beside their desks, and the phrase "Mr. Jones" had to be used as the opening word. The class engaged in brief periods of silent reading. Any students who responded slowly or without enthusiasm were reprimanded and instructed to repeat their actions until they demonstrated punctuality and respect. To emphasize brevity, answers were limited to 3 words or fewer. Students received rewards for actively participating in asking or answering questions. As a result, the class's level of engagement transitioned from being dominated by a few individuals to involving the entire group. That's day 1 of Jones's third wave experiment. What are your thoughts about it so far? Share it in the comments below. On the following Tuesday, which marked the second day of the experiment, Jones entered the classroom to discover that all the students were seated in silence, assuming the attention position. Some wore relaxed expressions and smiled, seemingly pleased with their ability to please the teacher. However, most of the students maintained a serious demeanor, gazing straight ahead with earnest concentration. Beneath the words "strength through discipline" on the chalkboard, Jones proceeded to write "strength through community." Despite it only being the second day, Jones successfully fostered a remarkable sense of discipline and community within his history class. He derived the name of his movement, the third wave, from the belief that the third wave in a series possesses the greatest strength. Additionally, Jones introduced a salute that involved cupping the hand and reaching across the chest towards the opposite shoulder, resembling a salute akin to that of Hitler. He commanded the class members to salute each other even outside of the classroom, and all the students complied with this directive. By the third day, the experiment took on a life of its own as students from various parts of the school began joining in. Some students who were not even enrolled in the history class, but had free periods, decided to become part of the experiment. Jones inscribed the phrase, "strength through action," onto the chalkboard. The class had expanded from its initial 30 students to 43 attendees. Remarkably, all the students displayed significant improvements in their academic skills and exhibited tremendous motivation. As part of their involvement, each student was given a member card and assigned a specific task, such as designing a banner for the third wave or ensuring that non-members did not enter the class. Jones provided instructions on how to recruit new members, and by the end of the day, the movement had amassed over 200 participants. To Jones's surprise, some students began reporting instances where fellow movement members failed to adhere to the established rules and guidelines. On the 4th day of the experiment, Jones added "strength through pride" on the chalkboard. But it was also on this day that Jones decided to bring the experiment to an end because it was gradually slipping out of his control. The students had become increasingly immersed in the project, demonstrating exceptional discipline and unwavering loyalty to the cause. Jones gathered all the participants and declared that the movement they had been part of was actually a component of a nationwide movement. He further announced that the following day, a presidential candidate of the third wave would publicly reveal its existence. By instructing the students to attend a noon rally on Friday to witness this announcement, Jones heightened their anticipation. However, instead of being presented with a televised address from their supposed leader, the students were met with an empty channel on the screen. After several minutes of waiting, Jones informed them that they had unknowingly participated in an experiment centered around fascism, mirroring the sense of superiority that had developed among German citizens during the Nazi era. Jones informs the students that the supposed national youth movement called the Third Wave does not exist. He candidly reveals that they have been deceived and manipulated. Furthermore, Jones states that they are no different, morally speaking, from the German Nazis they have been studying. As the students begin to voice their questions, Jones explains that over the past week, they have all experienced firsthand what it was like to live and behave in Nazi Germany. They have gained an understanding of what it felt like to establish a structured social environment, construct a unique society, and pledge allegiance to that society. In this process, they have replaced rational thinking with rigid rules. To conclude the experiment, he proceeded to screen a film about the Nazi regime, allowing the students to reflect on their experiences. The consequences of Jones's experiment have inspired various forms of media, including a feature film, a theatrical production, a Netflix miniseries, an Emmy Award-winning after-school special in 1981, and 2 documentaries, available in both English and German. This case study is frequently utilized in educational settings to exemplify the dangers of totalitarianism and the potential for a civilized society to turn against itself. The official website of the experiment provides study guides and lesson plans for teachers to use to educate students about the perils of totalitarianism. Jones, reflecting on the experiment, has recognized the dangers it entailed. While he advocates for studying it, he strongly advises against its implementation by other teachers. What are your thoughts about the third wave experiment? Would you personally approve of this as a method to explain to the students how German people displayed ignorance of the Holocaust? Comment with your thoughts below. If you learned a lot through this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and make sure to hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching.